I mean, hey, at least we still have new Netflix movies. So that's something, I guess. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. There's a brand new Spanish movie on Netflix that dropped today. This movie is called The Occupant. I read the premise and I was extremely intrigued, and I've been hearing comparisons to another movie that we'll get into when I start this review. So this review is going to be non-spoiler for the most part. Now, I am going to slightly dive into what the film is actually about other than what it's saying in the description, what's on the surface. So if you don't want to know anything about this movie, you can tune out. But if you don't mind, then please let me know in the comments section what you think. And if you like these Netflix reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. So, in The Occupant, Javier, once a successful executive, makes the fateful decision to leave his home, which him and his family can no longer afford. You have Javier Gutierrez playing the character of Javier. You have Mario Casas playing the character of Tomas. And all around a solid cast of characters. I would actually say the acting is the highlight of the film and the idea of what this movie is actually about. So the comparison that I'm going to make in this video is this is somewhat of a Spanish Parasite. And don't get me wrong, the plot in itself and the way it's structured is completely different than Parasite, but the idea of latching yourself onto this family and slowly taking over the role of one particular person, in this movie's case, is very clear and evident in this film. And not to say it copied Parasite, because I'm sure they were being made at the same time, and I'm sure one came out before the other, but the themes are definitely there. Now, it doesn't hit on classism as much or as deep as Parasite did, but it's definitely there with this guy who is just trying to get back to the point to where he wants to be, but get to where he wants to be. He wants to support his family. He wants to be successful. He can't even get a job that is beneath him because he's overqualified. His life at this point is basically in shambles. So he has this bright idea. He puts on this persona. He tries to convince others of this idea that he is who he says he is, but he is not who he actually is, all to accomplish one goal, one mission. And the mission does get a tad bit convoluted along the way. This isn't a perfect movie by any means. There are clear issues, especially when you look at how long it got to the point to where you understand what's going on, right? The first act entirely. You're learning a lot about Javier, and you understand where he's coming from and the struggles that he's going through, but I was sitting back asking myself, what's the point of all this? And it's completely different than a movie like Parasite because you understand where that structure is going to lead us, so you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. With this film, I honestly didn't feel anything in the first act. I understood who our main character was, but that's about it. I didn't know where he was going. I didn't know where we were headed. And that was a bit of a bummer, as well as the fact that it's just a slow trudge to get to where you're actually going. Now, when we encounter a certain character, when things start to rev up a tad bit in the second act, and he has to do a couple of things that are uncomfortable for you to watch, that are uncomfortable for our main character, but he's doing them because he has this seed planted in his head. He just wants out of the way his life has been going. He seeks happiness through this new structure and through this poor individual that just doesn't know what's coming. The character of Tomas is a kind and understanding character that is genuinely trying to put himself back on a path, even though he never strayed too far from that path, but he's trying to put himself back on a path to further what's good for his family. And that's why you kind of resonate with him. You like the fact that he is doing what is right for himself, but then this other guy comes along, and that's where the plot for me it got a bit muddled, because there are a lot of conveniences in this movie. And by conveniences, I mean certain things have to work out in a way for this overarching plan, even though it may not be a plan at first. It's kind of more he's doing it as he goes along, but they have to work out in a certain way from a certain perspective. And they do. And not to spoil where this movie goes in the third act, but to get to that point, things have to go in a direction that I just felt was too unrealistic for how realistic this story was trying to be, right? It's trying to be this dramatic and thrilling, and we're going to turn these themes and ideas on their head, but we're sticking as close to reality as we possibly can until these things happen, and you're just sitting back going, I don't know how this guy is getting so lucky. unlucky, whatever route it ends up going down, but it just works out to where I sat back and went, I just don't believe it. I just don't buy it. And especially in that third act where we end up with this character, I'm sitting back going, I don't know. You got close, but I don't know if you got all the way there. So the fact that it took so long to get through the first act, the fact that I was questioning the journey as we went on this intriguing and engaging journey. I mean, once it kicks in, the movie is full of energy and it's full of intrigue. I just needed a bit more from the journey, and I needed to understand clearly what this film was about a bit earlier on. But that's not to say there aren't bright spots in The Occupant. That's not to say that this isn't a well-made, for the most part, and solidly put together thriller on Netflix. If you're into this kind of movie, I encourage you guys to check it out. It is a brand new film on Netflix, and if you like these reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button. Like I said, we will do more. But as for my score, I'm going a 62%. A lot of 6 out of 10s this year on Netflix. I mean, we haven't really had that movie that's astounded me. A couple of really great ones so far, but I'm still waiting for that film to move me like plenty of movies did last year. But as you guys know, we might have to wait on those to come back in theaters. But hey, plenty of new movies on Netflix. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there's another original movie or TV series that you want to see me review this week, and I'll see you soon.